previous success of the XCOM program, you are hereby granted special access to an expansion pack. Within this pack, you will find new weapons, new enemies, and new gear. So get out there and punch some aliens in the face!
The year was 1993, and many things were coming to an end. Pablo Escobar and Andre the Giant's lives, Michael Jordan's first basketball career, and John Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
Fatality!
The last day of the year saw a new beginning with the release of the groundbreaking XCOM, UFO Defense. What was really unique about this game was a turn-based combat system fused with researching technology and a resource management system. The series then saw a few less than successful sequels and eventually was bought out by Hasbro. It wouldn't be until 2012 that we got to see the series reimagined with XCOM, Enemy Unknown. I have to confess that XCOM Enemy Unknown was actually my first experience with the series. And here we are a year later with only 2 rather insignificant DLC updates to the game, and it's starting to get a little old. But thankfully, Firaxis is now finally releasing a full expansion pack in the form of XCOM The Enemy Within.
Je me prépare à engager. Enemy in sight.
For those of you unfamiliar with XCOM, I guess it can be described as a game of making difficult decisions. So say you choose to support one country, and it could possibly cost you the support of 2 other countries. But really it comes down to turn-based strategy combat of humans shooting aliens. But there's many difficult decisions within that context as well. Most importantly is permadeath, meaning that if one of your soldiers dies during battle, he's gone. He's dead forever. A lot of these difficult decisions you'll find yourself making in the heat of battle. Preparing for a fight means a lot in XCOM. So say you bring a bazooka to a fight, are you actually going to use it and risk damaging potential research that could give you upgraded armor and weapons? Or do you just blow shit up? And that's where XCOM gets really fun and interesting, especially considering every time you play through it's randomized, so you'll never find yourself on the same series of maps or with the same soldiers. It's a game that's already very replayable, so it's great that this new expansion pack is just really adding another layer on top of that replayability. So what's new in the game? Well, as you've already seen from the intro, you can pilot a robot and punch aliens through walls. That alone is totally worth the price of admission for me. But on top of that, you also have the choice of doing genetic research, which will give you various buffs and perks to your characters, similar to what you could get from armor upgrading originally. But this just adds a different layer on top of that. And you can also stack that with the new medal system. So if you clear a map particularly well, they'll give you a medal. You get a choice of 2 different perks to choose from. You assign it to the medal, you give it to your soldier, and they're permanently upgraded. In the weaponry department, surprisingly, there isn't too much new. I suppose adding robots to the game is already the ultimate weapon, so they just decided to add a few new grenade types and call it a day. You can also get Exalt weapons, which are just basically reskinned versions of the weapons that were already available to you. We'll get to Exalt in a second. So I know what you're thinking. Why not just play the game with an all-robot wrecking crew and just smash your way through in no time, right? Well, there is a check and balance system in play here. So there's a new resource called Meld added to the game that works as a form of currency for your robotic and genetic enhancements to your characters. meld is only obtainable through battle. So any particular map will have 2 meld containers that work on a countdown timer at the beginning of the match. So it's almost a risk versus reward situation where do you risk running in and grabbing that meld before the countdown timer runs out and possibly expose your character to permadeath? Or do you play it a little bit more patient and just let that timer count out, but still, you get to keep your soldier? So what are you going to do with your fancy new robot and genetically enhanced mutants? Well, you're going to fight some aliens, right? Unfortunately, there's only 2 new types of aliens added to the game. To counter your own mechs, they've added a mechtoid class, which is essentially the little septoid alien that's been put in a giant mech. And another more interesting class called the Seeker, who can go into a cloaked mode and sneak up on your guys and strangle them. I know this sounds pretty scary, but as soon as you figure out the battle scanner perk from the snipers instantly reveals any Seekers, they pretty much become a pushover. But the real new enemy, or perhaps the enemy within, get it, is Exalt, a super secret human organization bent on fighting the aliens and also just totally screwing up your day. And they could have just easily taken the exact same maps and dropped in human enemies rather than aliens, but instead they put in a pretty interesting covert ops mode. So you pick one character to go on a covert mission, armed only with a pistol, to go hack Exalt data, and you have to go in a few days later and extract them. If you think fighting, 1-ton giant alien robots kind of scary, well, when you're only armed with a little pistol and you're surrounded by a bunch of snipers, that can be as equally daunting of an experience. The expansion definitely doesn't feel recycled. There's 47 new maps to choose from, and if you haven't gotten the previous 2 DLC releases, those come included. So you'll have like the addition of Shiv robots and fusion type weaponry. So if you miss those, there's really another layer of content added on top of just the enemy within. Also, if you missed the Slingshot DLC, then you probably missed the addition of Zhang. So Zhang is an original character added to the game with his own unique voice that you won't find in any customization menus, and you can't customize him as well. So he's sort of like a preset character added to the game. And you'll get another new preset character in the form of Annette Durand, an enemy with him. She's a little bit more spunky than Zhang, and she also makes it easier to get psionically powered characters towards the end of the game. And that's something that I sort of skipped on earlier. So when you're doing genetic enhancements on characters, you can actually stack psionic powers on top of the gene enhancements to create these mutant, psychic, crazy soldiers that again would be kind of overpowered if it weren't for the fact that you need to spend meld to build them up. However, you can't take a mech soldier and give them any genetic enhancements, so it gets pretty crazy, but not too crazy. So there's a whole new slew of customization options for your soldiers. If you didn't get the previous 2 DLC packs, you'll get all of those, including some new stuff. Some stuff from the third-person shooter XCOM, or the Bureau XCOM Declassified. You'll get the hats from that. Even the main character from that, William Carter, is a hidden playable character, similar to how you could play as Ken Levine and Sid Meier already. But what I thought was particularly cool is you have these multi-racial, multi-nationality soldiers to the game, and they all originally just sounded like they were American, and they've added in an option to have them speak the language of their native country. It sounds cool in concept. Unfortunately, they only did it for European nations. So say if you have somebody from an Asian country, they're not gonna speak Japanese, Chinese, Korean, or whatever. But still a nice little touch. I just wish they had taken it one step further. So there's been a lot of tweaks here and there to the battle system of the game, but nobody's really been significantly buffed or nerfed. I'd still say if you're a sniper with Archangel armor and a plasma sniper rifle, you will be a Angel of Death that can just kill anything in one turn guaranteed. So a few other things here and there that have been streamlined. Multiplayer mode is relatively unchanged except for the addition of the new character types and the ability to preset a specific loadout offline so you can get into matches faster. Similarly, during story mode, you'll be able to unequip weapons from characters that aren't readily available, so that makes getting to all your gear a whole lot easier and, overall better. Since this is an expansion pack, XCOM Enemy Within is very reasonably priced. If you're getting it on consoles, being the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, it will only cost you $40, and you won't need Enemy Unknown to play it. However, if you get it on PC as an expansion pack, it costs you less at $30, but you will need the original game in order to play the expansion pack. If you have not played a turn-based strategy game before, I highly recommend checking this game out. It's a very good starting point, especially on consoles. It works very well with a controller, so keyboard and mouse definitely not required to play this game. Being turn-based, it gives you time to really think and make decisions. You will have characters die. There's variable difficulty modes, so you can say on Iron Man if you really want to be tough, and the game will auto-save anytime one of your characters die, so you can't go back and reload a save. Or if you want to play it a little bit safer, there's traditional modes that will allow you to bring back characters from previous saves. There's also a second wave option that once you complete the game once, it'll give you all sorts of neat little options to change your second playthrough. I've personally played through the game probably like a dozen times already between Enemy Unknown and now Enemy Within. So it's hard to believe at the end of this month XCOM's actually going to turn 20 years old. The series has definitely seen far more downs than it's seen ups. The Bureau XCOM Declassified wasn't that big of a hit. In fact, 2K Marin, the studio that developed it, is now no longer in existence. But the future looks pretty good under 2K and Firaxis developing the XCOM series. I'll be really interested to see where they go next. So if you haven't given XCOM a try, I highly recommend Enemy Within. In case I haven't already said it, you can robot punch an alien in the face and make them fly through a wall and explode. Is that not enough for you?
Our local affiliates at WFXS indicate that a minor electrical fire was reported near the upper floors of a large office building downtown. Sources indicate that first responders were on the scene within minutes. So far, there have been no reported injuries.